Morning. I'm here going to do a demonstration and show one of the ways that I feed my animals and what I do when I'm feeding them. What I actually do is mix everything together in a total mixed ration and feed them. So every day they are getting the same feeding. It is very important when you're growing animals, especially if you know mothers that are feeding or so forth, that you feed them the same exact feeding every day. It actually is very easy on the ruminants and the production, both growth rate, milk production, all of these things, and the health of the animal actually improve when you feed like this. Now, if you look here, I was just finished feeding the animals. So I trough cut up the hay, I mix beer apps, and I also mix bag feeding. Mix them all together as one. And this is also, because the beer apps is wet, this is how I am now controlling the dust problem in the grass. Because when you dry grass like this, it's sometimes when the machine cut the grass in the field, it is very dusty. And also when you trough cut up the grass, it becomes very dusty. And you know, we trough, and also another reason why I troughed up my hay or my grass is because I don't have any waste. The waste rate is cut down tremendously, because when you feed the hay in a hay rack, if you look at this hay rack, when you feed the hay in a hay rack like this, half of the hay ends up on the ground like this, and they waste the feeding. Look at this. It's a total waste when you use the hay rack. So as much as possible, I try to trough up the grass, mix it in the feed, and feed them as a total feed ration. And I am going to give you and show you how I do this in my video. When I receive my beer hops, I receive it and it looks like this. When I'm filling the drum, I take a Pepsi bottle and I sprinkle a little molasses. I dilute the molasses 2-to-1. So 1 gallon of molasses to 2 gallons of water. And then I fill the drum quarter way, sprinkle a Pepsi bottle of molasses in it, fill it again quarter way, sprinkle molasses on it, and right to the top. And I compress it down. I take the beer ups and I push it down and compact it, because the aim is to take all the air out of the mixture. So I'm trying to take the air out of it. And if you smell this, it is not spoiled now. This beer up's been here now for maybe about 8 days, and it don't have a stink pungent smell. It has a nice smell. So this is a form of preservative like silage. It actually is very similar to silage when you do this like this. So we take this out, measure it out. So we measure out, we use bag feeding, beer apps, and we measure it out and mix it with the hay. So I'm just showing you. So these drums are what I store the beer apps in, and it preserves the beer apps when you take the oxygen out of it. So this is very similar to an ensil, like silage, and basically. So that's what I'm doing here. So I'm able to store this product for a long time without it getting spoiled. And this is the end game. A lot of people ask me what is free choice mineral and what is the minerals. So this is what the free choice mineral looks like. It comes in this bag. This is the hyper version, and this is the Nutramix version of free choice mineral. So you can put this mineral just like this into the pen, and like you can just put it into a container or something like that and just give it there, and the goats will go there and eat it by free choice. So they will nibble on it and eat it, by free choice. But when I'm doing my ration and my special mix that I'm doing, I actually use 1/4 pound of this mineral and mix it with my total feed ration that I'm doing. This is where TMR, what they call TMR, is very important. You can use one of those machines or that mixes the feed. You just throw all the ingredients in it and mix it together, and then you just feed the animal with one feed. You don't have to have separate feeding of, you know, pellets separate and hay separate, and, you know, everything don't have to be separated like this. You can do it as one. So this is what it looks like. This is mineral, free choice mineral. It has all the different ingredients in it. It has, like, you know, vitamin B, which is important, selenium, you know, all the different things that are very, very good for animals. And this free choice mineral also causes your milking does to produce more milk. It increases their milk, and it also increases the growth rate when you are using a free choice mineral like this. Very, very good products to be using. And no farm, no goat or sheep farm should operate without using free choice mineral. You must have it in the pen all the time, every day, so that the goats have access to it. Does it have ingredients on it? So we want this. Then say what? This is the content of the high pro. And this is the content of the Nutramix free choice minerals. So you can look at it and see what it is. Very, very good stuff to be using free choice mineral. The animals, why you need the minerals? One of the reasons that you need these minerals, if there are anything that is lacking in your forages, sometimes the grasses or the forages might not have, for example, selenium, which is something that's very prevalent. Then you are going to have birth defects and you're going to have birthing problems. If you have, you know, low in vitamin B, different vitamins, you're going to have sick animals. So, you know, the minerals is very important for the animals. Another thing is that we are here mixing feeding. We are here making our own feeding. Some of it from waste products. We are using waste products and making our feeding. So when we do that, you have to make sure that you always have roughage, right? Roughage is very important. Anything you are feeding the animal with, this grass is absolutely the most important thing to have. You must always have roughage on the animal. And then you are going to need the minerals. This grass might not have everything. Then you are going to need the minerals. Then you are going to need some protein. You are going to need energy. Right? These are all the different things that you will need for a balanced diet. You have to make sure you complement all of the needs of the animal. And most important also, you always need water. And once you have a balanced diet with the animals, you have to just now make sure that you have a good housing facility, that the animals keep dry and comfortable. And they must not be walking and, you know, lying down in their feces. Everything in here now? Yeah. Now, we have thrown, this is all the bear apps. We have thrown all of the bear apps inside of this here now, in this container. We are now adding the minerals to the feed. So we sprinkle the minerals on the bear apps. The free choice mineral, that's what we're using with this. So we sprinkle the minerals on it. All right. Throw out the bag. This is 12 in there, is it not? Yeah. Move the bag. We now add the bag feeding, and we spread out the bag feeding all over. And he's going to now mix it together. Minerals, bear apps, bag feeding, everything will be mixed. And then we're going to add the A to this, or grass. Sometimes you can add grass to it. If you trough cut up some forages, like, you know, whatever forages you troughed up, you can also trough up the forages and put it in this and mix it all together as one thing. So this is the trough cutter that I use to cut up the material. This trough cutter actually has a belt on it, and it feeds the material inside the trough cutter. And the trough cutter actually has a knife edge that cuts up the grass. It does not shred it, it cuts it. If you look at this machine, it has a knife blade. Look on the blade. So the grass feeds in here, comes right here, and then this blade spins and cut up the grass. And this is the aim. You want to cut up the grass in small, like 2 to 3 inches pieces, and then you feed it to the animals. So this is how the trough cutter works. A shredder is different. Shredders tear the material, it doesn't cut it. So a shredder tear up the material and rip it up, and then it gets very juicy, and the animals don't like when you use a shredder to cut up the forages. They like when you use a trough cutter. So the difference between a trough cutter and a shredder is a trough cutter cuts up the grass almost like you're using a cutlass or a knife and cutting up the grass. And this trough cutter has a belt on it that this belt actually runs the material. And I'm going to show you a demonstration of what happens. And I want you to pay attention to the amount of dust that is produced when the trough cutter is being operated. Yeah, it must be in the middle. Turn on the machine. Turn it on. What you can see, this belt is turning and carry the material in the trough cutter. So you can cut up cane, you can cut up grass, you can cut up tree type, you know, like, you know, merengue or, you know, basida. Any one of these things can be cut up with a trough cutter. And this troughed grass is in this container. It's cut up much, much finer in small pieces. Now the animals don't waste the grass when you trough it up like this. But the problem with this, as you saw, was it has a lot of dust. So this dust, one of the ways you can control it is to sprinkle a little molasses on it, or maybe even wet it with water, but the dust can affect the animals. You have to keep the dust out of it. So this is the trough cutter. Now that the bag feed is in there, we are now going to just throw the hay. This is actually one bale of hay that we are doing here. Now, I want you to see the dust. Did you see the amount of dust that is coming from this? That's what I want you to see. A lot of dust is in the hay. And this dust, right now, we are smelling and feeling the dust right here now. If you go like this, watch this. You see the dust coming out the hay. So much dust is in it. And the problem with this dust, it will cause respiratory problems with the animals. Very important. So the person now is going to mix this. Ron, go ahead and just mix it up. We are going to mix everything together now, and you will see the end results. You put a little molasses in it too. I'm not going to put the molasses. Go on. No, you can add it in the grass here like this. How much you put in there?
Put 2 of the dish.
Alright, go on. Yeah. Sometimes sprinkle. Sometimes we actually add a little molasses to it. This is how we do it. We just add, you know, a little molasses to help with the dust. That's why it is so important, you know, you can mix molasses and sprinkle it all over. And the main thing, you know, the molasses is actually a lot of energy is in molasses. And the energy is good for the animals. Put another one in there. So with the molasses in there with the grass, it also encourages the animal to eat because they like the sweetness of the molasses when they are eating it. So he put a little molasses in there, maybe he put about half gallon of molasses in there, and then now he's going to mix the whole thing together as one complete mixture to feed the animals. No, but you see, if you don't get this, no, you have to get this under and get this wet. So that's why I'm suggesting, even though,
Put the grass.
no, you don't want, I want it, yeah, I want it to look like this. So. All right, that's good, that's good. You right here, so I'm going to look like, just like, yeah. Right, this is good. All right, go in. More show right here. So I'll do it, yeah? This is now the end result of mixing all the feeding together. And as I said to you, this is now bare apps, bag feeding, and hay. Now, if you notice, there's no dust here because this hay is now damp. What I usually do, I mix it like this now. It is right here. I'm going to leave this for 2 hours, and then I will feed it out to the animals. So this mixer is for the feeding in the evening. So this will be their evening feeding. So I wanted to bring you here and to show you how you can do. This is an end silage process. It's the same thing like silage. And I'm able to store a lot of this feeding and feed my animals. The next thing that I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be mixing this feeding just like what you see here now. And I'm going to test it. I'm going to now take this total mixed ration that I have here now. I'm going to now store this in the drums, and this will probably stay for a long time, and I can feed it and probably have a month or two of feeding in storage. So in the rainy season, or whenever there's a shortage of grass or a shortage of feedings, maybe sometimes I might not get the beer wraps. Anything that happens, I'll be able to use this and feed the animals in desperate times. I wanted to show you all of this. And this is the way that we should be going, because now you can put this total mixed feeding in a drum, squeeze it down, take out all the air out of it, seal the top of that drum. You can have a couple drums put down with feeding to feed your animals. This is the direction that you all should be looking to produce silage. But this is just my little way of using waste and other things to make my feeding. I also can add different things to this. I can add all different kind of forages to this when I'm making this and preserve it. So what happens is that in the mango season, I feed heavy amount of mango, like 700 to 1,000 pounds of mangoes. But when the mango season is out, this is what I do. I feed with this product. And it really saves me a lot of time and energy. And I'm getting good results from doing this. So, as usual, thank you for watching. Please continue to subscribe to my channel. And it's always a pleasure to show you all the different things that I am doing to keep my farm going. As you all know, I'm a Kingston farmer. I don't have any land around me. I operate on less than 1/4 acres of land. And right now I have about 130 goats on my farm. So thanks for watching. Keep subscribing.